All right, folks, we're back at it with another edition of Wings Weekly. Jay Kleinknecht here and head coach Scott Langer. Coach, before we get into the weekend, I know I mentioned this on Saturday night, but congratulations on win number 700 in your career. That is a huge achievement. And obviously, throughout your career, you've had great organizations to work with and staff and everybody like that. And there's a lot of people, I'm sure, that, as you mentioned, have been behind you, certainly family, everybody. But still, 700 wins, that's a monumental achievement, and congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. It's stuff like that doesn't happen without a good support system. Obviously, people that surround me give me that opportunity to do what I can do. So, and obviously the players that I've been blessed to have over the years, those guys deserve recognition for a lot of those wins as well.
Wow, yeah, it's certainly more to come for sure. Well, a split on the weekend. Friday night, a 2-1 win, a come from behind win again. The power play goes 1 of 4, and North Iowa, the Bulls 0 of 6. 45 shots on goals for you guys, 35 for them on the shots on goal category. But again, you guys find a way to get back into that game and come from behind, and end up with going 6-0 going into Saturday. And, you and I talked about it again a little bit on Saturday night if people maybe missed the pregame show, especially if they were in the building here or whatever. But you felt like it was a little bit of a slow start. But, it's funny, the term crescendo always kind of pops into my mind as I'm watching this team throughout the course of this year. It just seems like it just ramps up and gets better and better as the game goes along, like it's building something. What were your thoughts on Friday?
Yeah, it's true. We started out really slow. They took it to us in that first period and put us on our heels. But we did come out in the second. We had a really good second period, and we finished it off really, really well there in the third. So, I don't want to keep coming from behind because those catch up with you. It's not easy to do. And we've done it almost every win so far. And, we need to get out of the gates better. We need to learn to start on time.
Saturday goes in, a 3-1 loss, unfortunately. Certainly can't win them all, but starting 6-1 on a season beats the heck out of starting 1-6. You're 0 of 6, both teams on the power play, but you outshot them 35-33. A little bit more chippy on Saturday than it was on Friday night, and then a physical matchup that, included some weird things like a questionable goal for them, but it ends up being a 3-1 game. They were up 2-0. You get a shorthanded goal again from Bulgakov. Thoughts on Saturday?
Yeah, I think if you ask, our goaltending, he would want those first 2 goals back. They were goals that probably need to be stopped, and, those put us down pretty quick, and we need to make sure that we're not allowing goals like that, and, that'll give us a better chance to win a game. But, that game could have easily went the other way by a large margin, with the amount of chances and the quality of chances that we did generate against them. Their goaltender played well, and, you got to give them credit for that. It got chippy. I think that team plays like that. We've seen it all last year. They resort to it. Jumping guys, probably because they're a little scared. That will have to be returned in the near future. You don't jump guys, and especially if you're considered a heavyweight. Heavyweights take on heavyweights, and that's not what occurred. So they got some things to learn there. I'm sure they're happy they came out of here with a split, and we just have to get better this week and worry about the Mallards.
And we're going to get to that in just a moment here too. But I don't know. It's just an interesting thing. Every team's got its own personality. Every team has got its own characters, I guess, on the team. But boy, they sure seemed like they had fun. Rousing our crowd and doing all kinds of things like that. And it was just sort of like, wow, this is felt a little next level, or maybe not next level, but different level than what we've seen in a lot of these matchups so far here this season. So that's It's some pretty intense hockey, I guess. And as the season goes along, and we make our trip down to Mason City, and so on in the weeks and months to come, that's going to be an interesting matchup.
Can't come soon enough, Jay.
Foreboding. Yeah, can't come soon enough. But that group, they played tough for sure, and again, good goaltending from them as well. When we talk about goaltending, Cunningham had a huge night on Friday night, and he did the splits, making a huge save late in the game with 18 seconds left. It looked like he was kind of holding on to a leg there and skating from corner to corner a little bit. Braun gets the start, and like you said, maybe Braun wants a couple of those back, but overall, I thought he played pretty well as himself, and he's a young goaltender. What's it like? When there have been teams before that you have had and that I've watched and been a part of that where there is a 1A, 1B kind of goaltender. But in this case, you've got a veteran guy and a younger guy who's kind of watching and learning and so on. And of course, with Coach Dumba and everything as closely as they work, what goes into the decision of who's going to go and who's not?
Well, it's the staff gets together quite a bit prior to putting the lineup together, and we go through a whole bunch of different scenarios. And I think either way, Braun would have got that start on Saturday. It was time for him to go in there and get some stuff done. But there's a lot. Is the goalie from the night before? Is he ready to go? How much activity did he see? How's he feeling the next morning? And there's just a lot, Do you want to ride the hot guy, or do you want to give an opportunity, for a goaltender to rest? So we just go through a bunch of scenarios, and I think it's really good that Bronny has a guy like Cunningham to learn from and to kind of see how a guy prepares every day in practice and the result that brings on the weekend. And Cunningham's been doing that. So. Yeah, Bronny played. There was some big saves in that game that he made that he probably shouldn't have had a chance at. But we didn't get the win, and but I think it was great for Braun that he's gaining some experience in the net, and he is a solid goaltender, and things are going to be good for him.
For sure. Like the character too, and I know that's something that you guys pay a lot of attention to as a staff and as an ownership group and so on. It was pointed out to me, I didn't catch it, I guess, but it was pointed out to me that at the after party or the after meal at City Lights Bar and Event Center, when all the other players had pretty much taken off, he was one of the guys that stayed behind and helped clean up and stuff. And it was like, there were people noticed that, and they were like, wow, that's for a young player especially to take that initiative. That speaks a lot too. So that's fantastic, and we look for big things from him as the season goes along. As far as the standings go, I know I always say this, it's early right now, and everybody's got a different amount of games. With Bismarck at the top of the division right now with 18 points, 9 games played. Aberdeen with 12 points in second place with 7 games played. St. Cloud with 12 points and 9 games played. Austin with 10 points, 9 games in the books. And then you have the Minnesota Mallards, 10-10, Minot with 8-7, North Iowa with 8-8, and Watertown still trying to kind of find their way right now, of 5-9 with 5 points and 9 games played. Minnesota Mallards, as you mentioned, they're up next. First trip to Forest Lake, and that always gives me a bunch of anxiety because I don't know what to expect going into a building like that and what the wiring and all that kind of stuff is going to be like, or what the atmosphere will be like for players and all kinds of things like that. It's always a little bit nerve-wracking going into a new building. For the boys, probably not so much. The ice is the ice, unless it's a Olympic sheet or something. I guess then it changes a bit. But anyway, they swept Watertown over the weekend. It looks like they've got a pretty strong power play on paper, at least. I guess that depends upon the kill that they're going against and who they've been up against too. But as far as ratings and that go, they're pretty high up there. What else have you seen from the Mallards?
Yeah, they skate really well. They press you all over the ice. They force you to make mistakes, and they play with a lot of energy. So we're going to have to be ready to go from the drop of the puck. And no team in this division, we say it all the time, is not a quality product. They're all good teams, and they all have really good things going on within their system. So we just need to have a really good week of practice and worry about day by day and what we can control in the process. And if we do that, good things will happen on the weekend.
Well, no doubt. And as you said, every team in the division, we've talked about this for year in and year out. It just seems like there's never a team that just, that you can take for granted, I guess, maybe is the best way to put that. But you said it, the Mallards are a good skating team. Generally, when you're up against a team that skates well and has a lot of speed, physicality is a big part of that, to combat that, I should say. Do you see that as a key factor?
Yeah, always. Always. I don't think that changes. Hockey's a physical game, and you need to be physical in order to get to the finish line. If you're not physical, you're letting your opponent off the hook, and you're allowing them to dictate the game. So, we better bring physicality every night.
Well, I know Esterbrook got the hit of the game on Saturday night, I believe. Yes, it was. And Backel was physical. We saw some big hits throughout the weekend, and your team definitely knows how to do that. So. All right, well, Coach, again, I won't keep you much longer. Congratulations once again on that 700th win. Looking forward to a trip over to Forest Lake and taking on the Minnesota Mallards and seeing what they're all about, as they are one of the new teams in the Central Division. Again, at their record right now, they are sitting at 10 points and 5-5 in 10 games. So they've shown that they can win some games for sure. And no doubt you guys will be ready for them. So congratulations again, and good luck against the Mallards.
Thanks, Jay.
All right, folks, second portion of Wings Weekly coming up after this.
Pro Ag Supply leads the game with channel seed, liquid fertilizer, and tanks. With 3 generations of family service, we've spent over 40 years growing relationships with your family. So whether it's game day or planting day, Pro Ag Supply and Channel Seed are by your side. Pro Ag Supply.
L&O Transport and Farm wants you. They're currently hiring Class A CDL truck drivers and farm operators. Experience preferred, but not necessary. L&O offers great benefits like a 401k, 100% health, and year-end bonuses. Pay depends on experience, but wages are very competitive. They run the newest late model equipment and take pride in what they do. L&O Acres and Transport is a family-run business. Come be part of the L&O family. Give them a call at 605-226-0732.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Jay Klein Connect here again as we start our second portion of Wings Weekly. And this time a player joining me is Gavin Reed of Dayton, Minnesota. 2 goals already on the season for a blue liner. That's pretty impressive. You've played around Minnesota and South Dakota, spent some time in the U show. What have been some of the bigger differences as you've gone through this, these different teams and different locations and so on? Is there something that maybe kind of sticks out to you a little bit?
I mean, I feel like, I don't know, it's different wherever you go. The systems are different. The way teams play the game is different. I just feel like here I really feel at home, and I really feel like a great place for me at least.
Awesome. Okay. Well, that's great to hear. We love hearing that, especially with the, Wings have always kind of prided themselves on feeling like, it is a family, and, where, you've got a whole community behind you here too. What, in addition to that, what have been some of the biggest lessons that you've learned throughout this journey? Even going back to maybe your very first start, whatever, that if you could pass something along to a young player, well, what are some lessons that you've learned?
I just say keep getting better every single day. Don't get down on yourself. Just really put your nose to the grindstone and just keep going. Don't really let anything get to your head, I think.
Yeah. Work hard, have fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Seems like a common theme when I ask questions like that. All right, I always ask guys about their hockey start. Now, and who was their influence or how they got going. Your dad played some big-time hockey for UND and at a pretty elite level, so I would imagine he was a pretty big influence.
Yeah.
How old were you when you got started playing hockey?
I was probably like 3 years old. Started with mites, and then started skating when I was like 2 on the outdoor rink in Dayton. It was like a little outdoor rink by the elementary school over there. That's when I started skating.
Okay. Well, and your dad was a D-man.
Yep.
Were you always a blue liner, or did you?
I actually played center growing up.
Really?
Until like Bantams, and I switched to D.
So if we're ever in any trouble, maybe somebody gets hurt or something, it's like, all right, Reed is going to the dot.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. We're going to get into Mallards and all of that stuff here in just a little bit as well. But I've got a couple of goofy questions here for you that I wanted to get to. Would you rather be able to sing every song perfectly or play every instrument perfectly?
I have to say play every instrument. I really want to learn how to play the guitar.
Yeah?
Like, I feel like I've been starting working on it. Not really, kind of am, but I really want to play the guitar.
Chords.
Yeah.
That's funny because I have a guitar and I pick it up once in a while and play it a little bit and learn a few chords and then it sits for 3 months.
Yeah.
It goes back to what we were talking about with the grind of hockey. It's like you got to work at it if you want to learn it, and I don't know. Sometimes I just don't have the time for it, but that's pretty cool. I was going to ask too, and I don't know exactly where this came from, but it popped into my head when I was writing the question about rather be able to sing or play guitar. Is there anybody in the locker room that likes to belt it out and has a pretty good voice? Who's the best singer?
Best singer? I don't really know. Probably Gibber.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Best guitar, piano, Winkler.
No kidding.
Yeah, really good with piano.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Well, do you have any hidden talents that maybe people don't know a whole lot about? Maybe you can juggle. Maybe you can fix a Rubik's Cube in a record time or anything like that?
I can solve a 2x2 Rubik's Cube. And I know some magic. That's about it.
Some magic? What's your favorite trick? What's your go-to? Is it a card trick? Or?
Yeah, some card tricks, yeah. I used to be into magic when I was a little kid.
You know that's pretty nerdy, right?
Yeah.
No, it's cool. That'll get all the girls. All right, so I wanted to talk a little bit. Obviously, you guys start out. We'll get back to hockey now after the goofy stuff. But you start out 6-0. You're rolling. Come out of the showcase undefeated. And then a home opener, another win, and you're coming from behind, and you're finding ways to win, and the confidence level's growing in the locker room and stuff. But you end up on Saturday taking a loss, and that's bound to happen. Obviously, even in the Wings' best seasons, when the national championship season and so on, there are going to be some losses here or there. But being the first one, what was the mood in the locker room like? Did it feel like guys were like, "Hey, no big deal. We'll get back at it," or were guys pretty bummed
after our first loss?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of different voices in the room. Boys were talking. I feel like we were all trying to stay positive, trying to say, like, look, this is the first adversity we've kind of had all year. So just take it as a learning lesson. Don't really get down on ourselves and try and learn from this experience.
Well, and that actually leads into what was going to be my next question. And I know Coach Hershot had mentioned this as well. And I mentioned it, talked to Coach Langer about it in years past, that sometimes adversity makes, a team stronger.
Yeah.
It really does. Like if you don't ever have your backs against the wall and you don't have to climb up that hill and you're just kind of skating, when it comes to playoff time and stuff and things are getting a little bit more intense, maybe it's not there. Maybe the intestinal fortitude or the guts, isn't really there. You mentioned it. You need to learn from it. What can you take away from a loss like that?
I mean, I feel like the little things. Like, I feel like as it went on, we got better. Like, we started off flat. Kind of been doing that a little bit all year, but we started off flat, got down. Then some of the guys are hanging their heads. Like, just don't hang your heads, I feel like. Just keep grinding and just focus on the things we did right, I think.
Well, and Coach Langer and I have talked about that too, about the kind of the slow starts, having to come from behind.
Yeah.
And I asked him, like, what needs to be done? What can you do to get I don't want to say faster, but a better start. And his answer, is going to be different than what a player's would be. So maybe I'll ask you that same question. As a group, how do you get ready? How do you get prepared and come out hot? And is it an intensity thing? Is it what would you say that a factor is? I guess in some of those slow starts, like you mentioned, has been a little bit of an Achilles heel early on here.
I feel like just mental preparation, like for yourself away from the rink, knowing what you're doing, have the same routine for every single game, get in that situation, get in that routine, and then I feel like that'll get everything going right away. And chemistry, like upstairs playing sewer, stretching, talking with the boys, laughing. Sometimes being serious is good, but sometimes it makes you tense. But whatever works for you, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, it goes back to that whole holding the stick too tight thing. It seems like sometimes when guys are in a slump or you're having trouble scoring, you do get a little bit over intense or a little bit too serious. And then you got to play loose, you got to have fun. But, that's certainly a big part of it. But the mental part of the game is always a little bit interesting. Well, not a little bit, a lot of it interesting to me because we know you guys know the game, but to be ready and to have have the mindset where you're ready to go early on, is a bit of a trick sometimes. It's a puzzle. Mm-hmm. Everything's got its little piece.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, again, I always tell you guys I know how busy you are, and I don't want to take up a whole lot of your time, so I won't keep you much longer here. But the Mallards are coming up now. They're 5-5, and just swept Watertown. They got to be feeling pretty good about themselves right now. And I know you guys haven't had a chance to see a whole lot of film on them yet or anything like that. But Coach, talked about them being a fast skating team, and their power play, I think, is number 3 in the entire league right now. Okay. So they've got an ability to win. What do you feel like you guys as a group now? Not even considering what the Mallards bring because we don't know yet. But what do you as a group have to do in order to come away from Forest Lake with a couple of wins?
I feel like what I talked about earlier, just like learning from our mistakes this last weekend. Like we split with North Iowa, which is okay, but we would want to sweep, learn from those mistakes, and incorporate that into this next weekend against the Mallards for sure.
All right, folks. Well, got some work to do for sure. Coach said it's got to be a strong week of practice for sure. They'll go break down film. They'll go over things, goalie tendencies, all of those kinds of things like the Wings do each and every week. Once the season gets settled in and you know who you're playing, and after the showcase and everything, because that's a whole different beast, as I've mentioned before. But anyway, this weekend, October 18th and 19th, Minnesota Mallards, as we just talked about, 7 p.m. puck drop both nights. Watch the games on NAHLTV.com or listen on 94.1 The Rock, HubCityRadio.com, or on the Rock app. You can download that as well and carry it with you wherever you go on your phone or a tablet or whatever mobile device. Next weekend, the following weekend, will be October 25th and 26th at the St. Cloud Norseman. And the next home game will be November 1st and 2nd against the Minnesota Mallards once again. Tickets available at tickets.aberdeenwings.com or at any of the Sea Express locations in Aberdeen. Sponsorships and reserved season tickets are now available for the 2024-2025 season. Call Aaron at 605-380-5852 for more information. And for all the latest news and information on the Wings, visit aberdeenwings.com or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram. Once again, Gavin Reed, thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy day and joining us here on Wings Weekly and letting people get a chance to see a little more about you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Anybody you want to shout out before we go?
Shout out my mom, my dad, my sister, my girlfriend, my dogs.
The dogs. What are their names?
Luna and Stella. They came last weekend to the game.
No kidding. Yeah. Oh, love that. All right, folks, that's going to wrap up this week's Wings Weekly. Thank you.